Hey guys, today we're doing Excel. Let's get started.
Uncle Wizard. What's the big news? Barry asked. But Uncle Wizard didn't seem to hear. He snapped his fingers, making a cup of hot chocolate appear. Shh, Barry. He'll tell us when he's ready, Aubrey said. She shook her wand, and tiny pink butterflies flew out. Duke waved his wand and turned them into flies. Barry's cousins were always showing off silly magic. Barry wanted to learn the hard stuff, like how to make a storm. Uncle Wizard cleared his throat. Soon I will turn 250. I am no longer young. It's time I trained one of you to be a real wizard. Aubrey and Duke hooted. Barry jumped up and down. But then she looked at her cousins. Uncle Wizard will probably choose one of them, she thought. Look at the picture. Why does Barry probably think that Uncle Wizard will choose one of her cousins? Because they give Uncle Wizard a magic ring. Because they wear the same robes as Uncle Wizard. Because they are both older than Barry. How will you choose who becomes a wizard? Barry asked. With a puzzle, Uncle Wizard winked. I've hidden a special golden key. Whoever finds it will become the next wizard. Cool, Barry whispered. Here's the puzzle. The key is in a place where there are rivers and roads, but no people, Uncle Wizard said. Remember, wizards use their magic and their minds. Aubrey and Duke began to shout ideas. I've got it, yelled Aubrey. The key must be in an old empty town. Of course. But where? Duke asked. I don't know, but I'm going to find it first. Aubrey waved her wand and disappeared. Duke clapped his hands, making a cloud of smoke that smelled like blueberries. When the smoke cleared, Duke was gone. Where has Uncle Wizard hidden the key? In a place that is covered with blueberry smoke. In a place where children learn to become wizards. In a place with rivers and roads but no people. While Uncle Wizard sipped his hot chocolate, Barry stood quietly by the fire. She had heard stories about empty towns, but she didn't know of any. Aubrey and Duke are searching for an empty town, Barry thought. Should I search for one too? Even if I find one, how will I know where to look for the key? Barry said a floating spell, and she began drifting slowly through Uncle Wizard's house. I always think better when I'm floating, she said to herself. Soon Barry found herself in Uncle Wizard's map room. She looked around. There were maps hanging on the wall and rolled up on shelves. More maps were stacked on Uncle's desk. Barry kept asking herself, where are there rivers and roads, but no people? What can you guess about Barry? Look for clues in the story. She usually thinks things through carefully. Barry ran her finger along a river on one of the maps. It gave her an idea. She started looking under the maps on the desk and behind the maps on the walls. She took a rolled up map off a shelf. Something hard slid out. It was the key. Good job, Uncle Wizard said. He was standing in the doorway, smiling. I solved the puzzle, Barry said. I was looking at the maps. They show rivers and roads, but they don't show people. So a map matched all the clues. As our family's next wizard, you will make everyone proud, Uncle Wizard said. Wow, thank you, Barry said. Uncle Wizard grinned. Ready to start your training? How does Barry know to look for the key in a map? The maps are magical. A map matches all the clues. The Witchland Spell Contest. Shanice watched Thomas tapping his broom on the floor as they waited for the contest to start. Are you okay? She asked him. He shook his head. What if my spell doesn't work? Shanice put her arm around her friend. You'll do fine. It's just a silly spell contest anyway. Shanice was trying to help Thomas stop worrying, but the truth was that she was worried too. The Witchland Spell Contest meant just as much to her as it did to Thomas. All the young witches felt the same way. I've told you all about my spell, Thomas said, but you haven't told me about yours. Shanice smiled. I haven't told anyone about it, but since you're my best friend, I'll give you a hint. It's kind of different. How does Shanice really feel about the spell contest? Look for clues in the story. She thinks the contest is too easy. She cares a lot about the contest. The judges sat down at their table. It was time for the contest to begin. Shanice and Thomas watched the other witches do their spells. One witch was from Shanice's baseball team. She made silver rings appear on the judges' fingers. Another witch made pink feathers float down to the judges' table. A third made songbirds appear, one for each judge. These witches are so good, Thomas whispered. Yeah, Shanice said. They're all doing gift spells. Of course, Thomas said. The best gift always wins the contest. Shanice moved around in her seat. Maybe the gift doesn't need to be a thing, she told herself. Maybe the judges would like something else. What kind of spells are all the witches doing? Ring spells. Gift spells. Next, it was Thomas's turn. Good luck, Shanice said. On stage, Thomas faced the judges. He brushed his broom across the floor and whispered his spell. Small pink cakes appeared in front of the judges. How pretty, one judge said. Almost too pretty to eat, the other judge said, but still he licked the top. Thomas bowed while everyone else clapped or waved their brooms. The second judge didn't clap. He was too busy eating his cake. Shanice smiled and waved her broom at her friend. But when Thomas looked away, Shanice slid down in her chair. What had she been thinking? Why had she wanted to try something different? Thomas was right. Gift spells were what made the judges happy. After seeing Thomas's spell, how does Shanice feel about the spell she is planning? Look for clues in the story. She is proud that she is trying a different kind of spell. She is glad that her spell is better than a cake spell. She is worried that she may have picked the wrong spell. Shanice's turn came last. Her heart pounded, but she forced herself to smile. Then she raised her broom, whispering her spell. The judges looked around the empty table. Shanice pointed her broom to the sky. Slowly, the judges looked up. A giant rainbow spread above them, and a wonderful smell filled the air. The first judge pressed her hands to her chest. What a clever spell! This beautiful rainbow is, well, a gift. A gift for everyone in the room, the other judge said. Everyone was quiet, staring at the rainbow. Then Thomas banged his broom on the floor, and the other witches did too. They all cheered for Shanice and the colorful rainbow sparkling above them. Look at the picture. Why does a wonderful smell fill the air? The judges have given roses to Shanice as a prize. Shanice has made a rainbow filled with flowers. Fairies without wings. Want to go bounce on mushrooms? Pipit asked Crane. Sure, we did that all the time in my old village, Crane said. She had just moved to town. Pipit couldn't imagine moving to a whole different place. He'd never even left the forest. They jumped from one large mushroom to the next. What's your old village like? Pipit asked. It's kind of like here, Crane said, but there are giant fairies. Some of them are taller than bushes, and they don't have wings. Pipit stopped jumping. Really? He asked. Really, Crane said, leaping onto another mushroom. Pipit stood on his mushroom, trying to picture a giant fairy without wings. Was Crane trying to trick him, or could it be true? What kind of fairies does Crane tell Pipit about? Shy fairies who hide in tall bushes. Giant fairies with no wings. That night at dinner, Pipit quietly sipped his acorn soup. You're serious tonight, his father said. What's on your mind? I'm just thinking about something Crane told me. She says there are giant fairies without wings in her old village, Pipit said. His mother smiled. Sounds like your new friend is a great storyteller. So all fairies have wings? Pipit asked. And all fairies are the same size as us? How do we know for sure? His mother put her fork down next to her clover salad. We've never left the forest, Pipit continued. What if... Think about it, Pipit, his father said. Huge fairies, without wings, how would they float on clouds? Or dance in the air, his mother added. Or herd butterflies, asked his father. What do Pipit's parents think about giant fairies without wings? Look for clues in the story. They live far away. They are good dancers. They are not real. The next afternoon, Pipit and Crane bounced on mushrooms again. My parents say giant fairies without wings aren't real, Pipit said. Crane crossed her arms. Do you want to see them? How? Pipit asked. It's not that far if we fly super fast, Crane said. The idea of seeing a giant fairy without wings was like surfing on a raindrop. It seemed fun, but a little scary. they mean? Pipit asked. Nah, Crane said. Most of them can't even see us. Sometimes the younger ones will notice us, but then the other giant fairies don't believe them. Pipit took a deep breath. I need to be home for dinner. You will be. Let's go, Crane said, and they took off. Why does Pipit think that seeing a giant fairy could be like surfing on a raindrop? Both seem fun but scary. Crane and Pipit flew through the forest, faster than Pipit had ever gone. Pipit followed Crane to a clearing. What he saw took his breath away. There were two large fairies, a boy and a girl. They were laughing and throwing a strange round thing back and forth, and they didn't have wings. Told you, Crane said. What are they doing? Pipit asked. It's a game they call catch, Crane answered. Now watch. She flew over and landed right on top of the boy. There's a fairy on your head, the girl said, pointing. How many times do I have to tell you? The boy said. Fairies aren't real. Crane flew back to Pipit. They both laughed. I can't wait to tell my parents, Pipit said. Look at the picture. What are the fairies without wings, really? Clouds. People.
That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.